The world has never stayed still. Every generation inherits borders drawn by conflict, treaties, and ambitions long buried under dust. But maps remember. Every war leaves a scar, a line carved into geography, a color shifted, a name erased. This is the story of how our world map was rewritten again and again through the greatest wars in history. It begins not with guns or cannons, but with bronze swords and ambition. The Bronze Age collapses, 1200 BCE. Empires once ruled by kings who believed themselves divine, Egypt's new kingdom, the Hittites, the Mycenaeans, all fall within a century. Trade routes snap, cities burn, and sea peoples swarm across the Mediterranean. The map of the ancient world dissolves into fragments. From mighty empires, only scattered city-states remain. Greece, once unified under palace centers like Mycenae, becomes a mosaic of independent poleis. Egypt shrinks to its Nile core. The Hittites vanish. Civilization resets. The rise of empire, 500–100 BCE. Centuries later, the world regathers itself. Persia rises from the Iranian plateau and stretches from the Indus to the Aegean. A single empire controls 3 continents, the first global superpower. Its map glows with one color, the color of kings who called themselves Shahanshah, King of Kings. Then, across the Mediterranean, another color begins to spread: Rome. A small city of farmers expands with unmatched discipline, consuming Etruscan, Carthaginian, Greek, and Egyptian lands. When Persia falls to Alexander the Great, the world shifts again. From Macedon to India, Greek language and ideas spill over ancient borders. His empire dies with him, shattered among generals, yet the Hellenistic world remains, one cultural map overlaying dozens of political ones. By 27 BCE, Rome absorbs the remnants. The Mediterranean becomes Mare Nostrum, our sea. For the first time, Europe, North Africa, and the Middle East are tied under one rule. The Roman map is the map of civilization. The fall of Rome, 476 CE. Then, collapse returns. The Western Roman Empire disintegrates beneath waves of migrations. Visigoths, Vandals, Ostrogoths. The map of Europe shatters into tribes, kingdoms, and shifting frontiers. Where once a single empire stood, dozens now rise. Frankish Gaul, Anglo-Saxon England, Lombard Italy. In the east, the Byzantine Empire holds the line. The border between Latin West and Greek East hardens, a split that will shape faith and politics for a millennium. The Roman map fades, but its ghosts linger, in borders, in law, in language. The birth of Islam and the Caliphates, 7th, 9th century. From the deserts of Arabia, a new force redraws the world. Within a century, the Islamic Caliphate expands faster than any empire before it, from Spain across North Africa, through Persia, to the Indus River. The old Christian and Zoroastrian worlds are replaced by a new civilization. The Mediterranean, once Rome's heart, becomes a frontier. Baghdad glows as the new center of learning and trade. The Islamic world's map connects China to Europe with silk, spices, and knowledge. Europe, fragmented, begins to stir again. The Crusades, 11th–13th century. Armies of the Cross march eastward. Their victories carve out temporary states: Jerusalem, Antioch, Edessa, Christian islands and a Muslim sea. But within 2 centuries, those red patches on the map disappear. The Crusader kingdoms fade, absorbed by stronger Islamic empires. Yet something changes. East and West reconnect. Trade booms, cities grow, and Europe begins to breathe again. The Mongol storm, 13th century. Then thunder rolls from the steppes. The Mongols erupt into history, and the map trembles. From China to Hungary, cities fall like grass under hooves. At its height, the Mongol Empire spans nearly all of Asia, the largest contiguous empire in history. Trade routes reopen under Mongol protection. The Silk Road thrives. But with Genghis Khan's death, unity splinters. The map divides into khanates: Yuan China, the Ilkhanate in Persia, the Golden Horde in Russia. The world is connected as never before, yet on the edge of collapse. The rise of nations, 15th century Europe awakens. Portugal and Spain launch ships beyond maps' edges. The age of exploration begins, and the world itself becomes the battlefield. In 1494, the Treaty of Tordesillas divides the globe between Spain and Portugal, a line cutting through the Atlantic and South America. Maps explode outward: Africa's coasts, India's ports, the Americas. The old world merges with the new. The wars that follow are not for cities, but for continents. The 30 Years' War, 1618 to 1648, Europe descends into chaos. Religion, politics, and ambition collide. Armies burn whole regions. Populations vanish. When it ends with the Peace of Westphalia, a new concept is born: the modern nation-state. Sovereignty becomes sacred. The map of Europe gains borders not of empire or dynasty, but of nations. The Holy Roman Empire remains in name, but power has shifted. France emerges stronger. The Dutch Republic stands free. Modern diplomacy is born. The Napoleonic Wars, 1799–1815, revolution ignites France, and its flame sweeps across Europe. Napoleon's armies redraw the map faster than cartographers can follow. Old monarchies fall. New kingdoms appear. The Confederation of the Rhine replaces centuries of feudal chaos. Poland re-emerges briefly as the Duchy of Warsaw. When Napoleon finally falls at Waterloo, Europe is exhausted. The Congress of Vienna restores the old order, but nothing is truly the same. The map of 1815 shows restored monarchies, yet the idea of nationalism, unleashed by revolution, cannot be redrawn away. The Scramble for Africa, 1880 and 1914. Industrial powers carve the last unclaimed continent. At the Berlin Conference of 1884, European empires divide Africa with rulers and pens. By 1914, nearly all of Africa is colored by Europe: Britain, France, Germany, Belgium, Italy, Portugal. Artificial lines slice through tribes and languages, creating future conflicts. The map grows full, crowded, and tense. The world is global, industrial, and armed. The age of total war approaches. World War I, 1914–1918. The spark, a gunshot in Sarajevo. The consequence, the collapse of empires. When the war ends, 4 ancient empires vanish: Austro-Hungarian, Ottoman, German, and Russian. Europe's map is reborn. Poland returns. Czechoslovakia and Yugoslavia appear. The Middle East is carved into British and French mandates. The Ottoman map, once vast, becomes the modern Middle East, its borders drawn by foreign hands. The League of Nations promises peace, but the seeds of the next war are already planted in those new lines. World War II, 1939–1945, the most destructive war in history. Nazi Germany seeks to redraw Europe with conquest. The map of 1941 is a sea of gray stretching from France to the gates of Moscow. Japan's empire spreads across the Pacific and Southeast Asia, but the tide turns. By 1945, the map collapses inward. Germany splits. Japan loses all its conquests. The Soviet Union expands, and the Iron Curtain descends. 2 superpowers divide the world: one red, one blue. The Cold War begins, not with armies, but with maps divided by ideology. The Cold War, 1945–1991. For nearly half a century, the map stands frozen, yet pressure builds beneath. Colonies across Asia and Africa fight for independence. India, Indonesia, Ghana, Algeria. One by one, the colors of empire fade into nations. New lines appear, some peaceful, some bloody. By 1991, the Soviet Union dissolves. 15 new countries emerge overnight. Europe shifts again. Germany reunites. The old order of superpower blocks begins to fade. The modern map, 1991, present. The world map today carries the ghosts of every war that came before. Borders drawn by kings, conquerors, diplomats, and rebels. Some lines hold, others bleed. The Balkans fracture again in the 1990s. Africa's colonial borders continue to define modern nations. The Middle East remains shaped by a century-old partition. In the 21st century, new battles are fought, not for land, but for influence, information, and resources. Yet the map still changes. Crimea shifts color. New alliances form. Old rivalries awaken. The wars may look different, but their outcome remains the same. The map changes. The world remembers. Epilogue. The map as memory. Every map tells a story of conquest and collapse, the rise of Rome, the fall of empires, the redrawing after every war, from bronze to nuclear age, each line written in blood, each erasure paid in lives. When you look at the map today, you're not seeing geography. You're seeing history layered in color, each shade a story, each border a memory of conflict. And though peace may hold for a time, history reminds us that no line lasts forever, because the map is not a picture of the world. It is a record of every war the world has ever fought,